Now I'm going to teach you how to use the H and the X commands. So here is my text, and here's my command. And the H, the lowercase h command, will append just one line to the hold space, and this pattern will match this line. So this line will be appended to the hold space, and then the next command will specify that at this pattern we will exchange the hold space into the pattern space, and then the contents of the hold space will be in the pattern space, and then we will print the pattern space. Hold on. So what is printed is that line that was kept in the hold space. Now, if I want to print both patterns, I could do something like this in the action block. I can say, first I'm going to exchange the hold space with the pattern space, print the pattern space, and then exchange the hold space with the pattern space again, thus erasing the pattern space, and then just printing the pattern space. And there you have the second pattern that was printed. So let me move on to the second example. I'm going to clear the screen. And so here we are saving from line from address 1 the odd numbers in the hold space, and then from line from address 2 actually we are appending the even numbers into the pattern space, and now we are printing the pattern space. Okay, but I can print what's in the hold space. So here I'm printing what's in the pattern space, and now I'm appending the hold space into the pattern space. Now I'm printing the pattern space again, and you see I have the odd numbers and the even numbers printed. Let me move on. I'm going to clear the screen, and here's the text. Here's the command, and this is in the same format as the last command, but I'm using uppercase H. Notice that new line right above that line that was kept in the hold space. Yeah, it will append a line from the pattern space to the hold space with a new line above it. And it's very powerful because it will append line after line into the hold space. So let's move on. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to, so we have 1, 2. Okay. And so we have the pattern that matches any character, and then we have uppercase H, and then we are going to exchange the hold space into the pattern space, and then we're going to print that and see what we have. Well, hold on, let me use the silent option, but we still get that line where it repeats the 1 for some reason. But to review here, we are matching on any character, and then this will append line after line, and then this will exchange the hold space into the pattern space. But let's move on to how we can improve this command. If I just up arrow, and then I put another command in this group, and then I want to say I want to delete the first line of the hold space. So I'm just trying to show you how you can edit the hold space once you have appended all the lines into it. Then you delete that. So not the last line, delete. And it's gone. So this will improve our command. I'm going to clear the screen, but I'm going to replay that last command. And I'm going to paste this, and then I'm going to paste the substitution commands in. I'm going to underscore these. Just bear with me. Whenever you use backslashes, you should probably use underscores. They work very well. Okay, so here for the substitution at the beginning of the line, I'm substituting that with new line start. That's the header. And then at the end of the line, I have new line end. That's the trailer. So that works very well, but there is an empty line at the top, of course. So let's just remove that. Okay, and I just added a grep with the line number just so you can see. It's very pretty that way. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to replay this last one, and then I'm going to echo this text. So you can see here's a gap. I am simulating paragraphs. So you can see I have headers and trailers on each of the paragraphs. So I'm just going to scroll down a bit, and I'm going to show you all of this text that is telling you all of the things I've already talked about, but I just want to let you know that this requires more investigation, because the H command, the capital H command, will save several lines in the hold buffer and then print them only if a particular pattern is found later. In this section, I will show you how to use the G command. So let me show you this. I'm removing the empty lines, and then I'm printing. So 2 new lines in a row will create an empty line. And then by putting the G command at the end of this, by using the G command here, I am appending the hold space to the pattern space, thus deleting the pattern space. So I have empty lines. Excuse me. So let me clear the screen, and I'll show that to you again, but I can remove the empty line, and the capital G command will append a new line to the pattern and then the contents of the hold space. The contents of the hold space are empty, so we only get new lines here. If I used 2 capital G commands, I could double space, I could double space the text here. So something to remember. Let me clear the screen, and then let me echo the text here. We have an empty line here. So I'm using the capital G command, and you see what that does. It appends a new line to the pattern, and then the contents of the hold space. And here the H command copies the pattern space to the hold space. And so what we want is the last 4 lines of this, because what my objective is to reverse the order of these lines. I'm going to up arrow, and I'm just going to put a $sign to indicate the last line or the last address. And so that is nice. However, that new line at the bottom is unwanted. So I'm going to say at address 1, I don't want that to print. I'm going to clear the screen and then I'm going to try this again. I'm going to remove that empty line and see what happens. And so that looks a lot neater. So something to remember, this is an interesting lab. And even more interestingly is the next lab. Let me clear the screen. Let's take a look at this. So we are matching on the comment character at the beginning of the line, and then the action is to hold that line in the hold space and then delete the pattern space and start another cycle. And then the capital G command will append a new line to the pattern and then the contents of the hold space. So we will append, so the pattern space will contain actually this string, and then we're appending a new line to it and then the contents of the hold space. And that's why the substitution command is the way it is. Here the first group is 0 or more of any character, and this is at the beginning of the line. This matches the string. And then we have new line, and then this group will match Linux but without the comment character. And then we are just rearranging it by using back reference to refer to Linux, and then back reference 1 referring to administration. Excuse me, let me just clear the screen and you see what happens. So let me echo the text to contrast. So let me move on to the next lab. We have a lot of parentheses, and we want to delete all of them. So that stands for non-white space character, and we have 0 or more of them, and then we are deleting them. And then the other command removes the empty line. Okay. But I want to teach you how to use the T command. So the T command will branch to a label, and that basically is a set of instructions. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to clear the screen. Oh. That's not going to work. Okay. So here the label is designated by the colon here, and we're calling this label again, and that's the same substitution that we had before. And then T will just call this label, executing this action, and then we are simply removing the empty line. So that's a very simple demonstration about how T works. Then the L command will print a pattern space in an unambiguous form. That might be useful for you later. I don't think it will be on the test. So a word about command line arguments. Let me clear the screen and let's take a look at the version of sed. Of course, it's created by GNU. The follow symlinks option will allow you to follow the symbolic links when processing. And I don't have a demonstration for that, but that's slated for later. I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to create file 1 through 4, and then I'm going to echo 1 through 4 to each one of these files. So let's just cat all those files out. Okay, each one of these files has these values. And so if you use the sed command address 1 and 2 print for all of these files, you only get a single stream. This won't refer to all of the files. It'll just show you the information regarding all of the files. But if you use the separate option, that will show you the values in each one of the files. So let me just clear the screen. Perhaps you want to know which files have which information. And that would be relevant to you. I've covered this before, but I want to talk about it again. The in place option will allow you to actually transform the text in the files that you specified. Let me list my files. So these are all my .txt files. And if I want to put this is /t is tab. If I want to put a tab at the beginning of each one of the lines in all of the .txt files, I can do so, and the in place option will actually change the text within the file. See, I've given a tab to each one of these. So let us go back to here, and let's just place tab with nothing. Okay, so we have removed the tabs. I'm just going to clear the screen, and let's create a backup. I'm using this, I'm putting this lab in here twice because it's so important. When you do this, you want to create a backup file so that you have something to revert back to. And this has saved my data more than one time. Let's move on to the character classes. I'm going to clear the screen. This is a lot of fun, but this could save you some time, I think, because this arrangement of characters will match both capital and lowercase letters. Of course, this is digits, so the digits, and we have 2 commands for punctuation because all of these are matched by the punctuation, but then I had to double quote both the single quote and the colon characters. But those are punctuation as well. So printable characters are here. And then here we're talking about spaces. So that symbolizes spaces. This is interesting. Here we're saying 0 or more spaces as the pattern, and then we're replacing that with X. But there are no spaces here. Let me echo this text. Excuse me. So you don't see any spaces. So this is matching on the space in the before the 1. So I guess if you wanted to append some text and then use a space try that. Yeah, if you wanted to put some text before a string, you could use this. And then, what am I saying here? Oh yeah. Backslash lowercase s will match on white space. Okay. But backslash uppercase s will match on blank space. Okay, it's time for some practical exercises. Let's move on. And the test file has records that have fields that are separated by spaces, but I could actually replace those spaces with commas. It depends on what the preference is. I'm going to clear the screen. It's here. Let's take a look at line number 7. I want to replace the @ symbol with the exclamation point at address number 7. So let's cat the main file.copy. You can see this is the original file with all of the comments, empty spaces, and blank spaces. I'm going to actually clear the screen, and let's have a command that will remove the commented lines, the lines that have blank spaces, and also empty lines. Okay, but then by using address inversion, I will avoid that fate for line 1 through 9. So here you can see the header, line 1 through 9. I'm going to clear the screen again. Let me show you another practical thing I can do. Okay, so looking for the Anthony pattern, and then the action is to change local to remote. There it is. I'm going to clear the screen so that you can see that more clearly. Or I could use the employee number. That works as well. Or I don't have to use a pattern. I could just use the address number, because I know that's address number 2. Okay, let's take a look at the first 4 lines, and then let's use a pattern range from employee number 1 to employee number 4, and when that range is found, then we are going to substitute all of the remote entries with local. So that's a very easy way for changing a lot of configurations very quickly. Let's take a look at using the read command. I'm going to clear the screen, and let's take a look at the echo. We have 2 new employees. For some reason, they need to have employee numbers that are the same as the one used by Fabius and Julie. But I'm just going to echo this into a file called new employees, and then I'm going to create a backup, and then at pattern 6, so the pattern right here, I want to read in the content of the new employees file. Okay. So now you can see that new person and also new are here, and then all of these employee numbers need to be incremented by 2. And I'm going to clear the screen again, and I have this sed command with a lot of substitution commands chained together by semicolons, and this will actually increment the file, but this was a lot of work. So I wanted to find something that would work in a more efficient manner for this task. So another scenario that I've come up with is that Andy is going to leave the company, and I need to replace this entry with his replacement. So the replacement is Chicken Man, and I'm just going to use the change command. Of course, this uses the backslash to separate it from the string, and then I'm just going to type in this string as the replacement for the line that matches Andy. So here you can see I don't need to mess with the employee numbers at all. I'm just going to, basically change this line. So very interesting. I'm going to clear the screen. And here, if I've forgotten the employee number for Bill, let me show you the line numbers of the file. So I forgot Bill's employee number, but it coincides with the address number anyway. So it's very easy for me to find. I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to take a look at the main file, and I'm dealing with these first 3 configurations. And here I'm using grep and the regexp option to take a look at all of these. And so sometimes you need to change more than one configuration in your configuration file. So let's investigate some ways of doing this. I'm going to clear the screen, and then I'm going to copy this, and let's go to full screen, and let's take a look at this. So I want to change all 3 of those configurations. So what I do is I specify one line as the pattern, and then the action involves appending the other 2 lines into the pattern space, and then I'm using colons for this substitution command, and I just have a very large substitution command that just substitutes all 3 of the files at once. So you can see that I have changed these entries here. I'm going to go back to small screen mode, okay, and let's take a look at that in another light. I'm going to clear the screen, and now let's use the expression option to just run these commands. This basically, what this does, it separates the expressions. So it's easier for me to find. So I have this expression here for this line, and then this expression for this line, and that expression for that line, and that does the same thing. Let me clear the screen. Let me try to make this look a little bit more elegant by using sed and then space backslash, and then I have this expression, space backslash, then this expression, okay, space backslash, and then the last expression here, and then the file. Okay, so that might be a little bit easier to read. But it depends on your preference. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to show you a more practical example for the capital N command. Let me go full screen and let me paste this. So here we have a paragraph. So this is a multi-line paragraph. And we want to change this multi-line paragraph to be something else. So what we will do is, this will already be in the pattern space, but we are appending the next 3 lines into the pattern space using the capital N command. And then with all of these lines in the pattern space, we are substituting the entire paragraph for the other entire paragraph. So I'm using, so let me show you the delimiters for the S command. So this is the pattern. Okay, so that begins the pattern, that ends the pattern, and then this is the replacement, and then this is the end of the substitution command. Oh, well, hold on, let me clear that. Right, so it's changed from this paragraph to this paragraph, and so that is useful in case you need to substitute an entire paragraph for a completely different paragraph. You could use the capital N command as many times as you would like to append as many lines as you would like to the pattern space. I've never seen a limit, though. If you know of a limit, let me know. I'm going to move on to the next lab. Okay, so that's where 3Ds are. And so if I wanted to delete that, a line that matched 3Ds, I would use this. So actually, let me just see what line it is on. It's on line 15. It's right next to send mail path. And so it's gone. I'm going to clear the screen again, and here I am appending 2 lines to the pattern space, and then I am just matching on the patterns and then deleting these lines. So this is another way of deleting multiple lines by pattern, or you could do pattern range. That would be a different, I'm just going to clear the screen. Or you could do you could have a line range. So line 16 to line 19. Actually, I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to use the line numbers. So from line 16 to line 19, I want to delete. Here's the HTML directory, and then here's the DDD daemon line here. So let me clear the screen again, and I'm going to use a pattern range this time. So I've appended these 3 lines after this pattern, and then I'm just specifying the pattern range. This time I'm printing, but I could delete. Wait, I need to turn off the silent option. So again, it's easy to either use address ranges or pattern ranges to specify a lot of lines that you either want to print or delete. And finally, don't forget to use the capital G command to double space the lines of text. And so I hope you have enjoyed this series of videos about sed. It is very useful, but in the next video I will talk about awk, the pattern scanning and processing language. So this has been sed, the stream editor for filtering and transforming text. It's very, very important when I'm using configuration files especially, or text files. So I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.